my salary at the time, I was only getting paid $14,000 a year to voice track because it was just voice tracking. So I had it was cool because I had all the money I was making in New York plus that was dope as fuck, you know?
Right.
He says, so they ended up getting me a hotel. I stayed in a hotel for my time there. He says, we could get you a hotel to stay in, but we can't pay you anymore. You're going to have to hustle and do gigs and do events and whatever. But also with that, I was the sole programmer of anything that had to do with that radio station, from the programming to the music to the website to every single element, the sweepers. So I took the gig, a really big risk. I would have rather have suffered. This is might be an ego thing at the time. Have suffered through that than to let everyone in Peoria know that I failed, that I fucking ruined it.
Right.
Like everyone knew that I would, you know. And I didn't have anything to do with talent. It had to me. It was because I was a conceited, cocky, cocksucker 20-year-old that thought he knew everything.
Well, it would be hard not to think that, dude, considering the fucking path that you were on. I mean,
but it was huge awakening. And that was, they say you're nothing in radio until you get fired. I thought I was never going to get fired. Like, fuck you that. Bam, gone, fired by, like nothing. Wow. Like fucking nothing, gone. So I ended up going to the Hamptons and hustling.
Fucking just
this girl named Denise Bornshine, this bombshell 50-year-old that was single, took me under her wing, I'll say.
Oh, okay.
And took me out to all the parties, and dude, I was a hot commodity out there. Like,
nice.
yes, the demo, we were the redheaded stepchild, but older women love to feel young again, you know?
Sure,
and I was filling that role. I wore my hat, my Chuck Taylors. I dressed up with my suit, wore a tie, but also still wore a hat and Chuck Taylors because I was the DJ.
Yeah.
And a year into that, the guy that was GMing it actually ended up buying Independence Media. So for a year, I was programming The Beach in the Hamptons by myself and starting to make money.
The name of the radio station was called The Beach?
Yeah, because it's on the beach. Because it's on the beach.
Oh, God.
Yeah, terrible name. Fucking terrible name. Terrible logo, too.
Oh, let me guess. It was like a wave crashing into the
That's
word
what it is
beach?
now. That's what it is now. Before, it would look like it was drawn on with a crayon.
Oh.
I'll show you. It's actually very pitiful.
Wow.
It's bad. Like
the beach.
Our kids could draw better than
Okay.
that. But he bought Independence Media, Kiss FM, in 2010. So he was like, all right, do you want to run this? And we had a long talk, like, Govia, I know you're a fuck up, and I know.
Yeah, I can't have you screwing me.
Yeah.
Don't fuck me over on
this. Yes, exactly. And the opportunity was just too good to turn down. So in 2010, he brought me into Peoria to launch Kiss FM, to revamp Kiss FM.
Sure.
Remember, I left.
Right.
The people that Independence Media or whoever that had it completely fucked it all up. They sold out to the record industry. They played every single song. When people ask, why don't you play more music? They did what you wanted them to do, but they completely fucked it up because there's a method to the madness. There's a reason why we have a tight playlist. There's a reason why we're playing the songs that we play.
Sure.
On the contrary of hating that. But they were literally playing everything. And I don't want to, it's a legal thing, so I can't really talk about why, but I'm guessing money driven.
Sure, absolutely.
Like,
what isn't?
Yeah.
So.
But, dude, when you're playing every single song 40 times a week, clearly they went for the money rather than for the listeners. So when I took it over, I completely demolished everything. And I completely swept the whole playlist. I used the playlist that I used in New York that I knew was what it was supposed to be.
Right.
And the next day, because remember, this is record label driven, the phone for the program director, which is the seat that I was in, blew up because they're monitoring. They're constantly monitoring their spins. Yeah. They want a chart, you know?
Yeah.
But I cut it all off, and I started it new, and I swear to God, that next day, my phone would not stop ringing. They were banking on these spins. And then from there, it's like, what do you want? What do you want? In my head, though, I have a salary. I have 2 salaries now. I don't need your fucking money. I want this station to be top notch. But then they were like, oh, do you want to fly someone to the VMAs? And blah, blah. And then now I'm starting to figure out more about programming. Now I'm not just a personality. I programmed in the Hamptons, but it wasn't the same. This was a station that actually contributes. Peoria is a small market, but it contributes to the charts, to media base. So then I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to think, now we can start doing promotions, but it has to make sense because, again, you can't be tit for tat, payola, plugola type shit. You can't do that. But then now I have an opportunity to do stuff for good, not for evil, not just for money. I don't know who was pocketing the money at the time or what. I'm pretty sure there was a consultant that we're not going to get into that.
Okay. Okay.
Again, that's legal shit.
I did.
Yeah. But
running for mayor, you don't want to.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's their shit. Like I've walked the line a lot, but when it comes to legalities and money scandals, like it's not worth it to me. I'm happy. I have a lot of perks. My salary doesn't mean shit. I could go out and get a burger on the house for Snapchatting it. Like, come on, chill.
Right. Right.
But doing that, what it did for my legacy in Peoria, and in radio in general, the station shot up straight to number 1 in the demographics. And from there, we went straight to a 5 share, which, again, that's radio mumbo jumbo. But my first ratings period shot up. I remember I was sitting at it's called Hokkaido now. It's like a Chinese buffet at the time, though, on University.
Okay.
I was at the Chinese buffet, and I found out the ratings, and I flip my shit. And I'm like, oh, my God, this can't be real. But it's all about the 2-book average. This is a fluke type of market. It's a diary market.
Sure.
So
yeah.
You could get a 5 share one and a 1 share for the next. So it had to maintain. So I kept the same strategy, kept going. The next is a 5.1. Maintain, bam, ship it, done. So like we're gonna have to do some editing on this, huh?
No.
All right,
I think we're good.
Yeah. So
you haven't said anything. You don't.
No, I just mean it's long.
Oh no.
Yeah.
We're good.
So I got the 2-book average, and again, I wasn't as much of a cocksucker, cocky asshole as I was before. But you're in a building, you flip shit around like that.
Yeah.
Wow, you're stoked.
Right.
I thought I was invincible. Like, literally, there's no fucking way they're firing me. I'm the man. You know? And this is me saying this because this was a long time ago. That's 2012 now at the time, and that's like almost 5 years ago. I did whatever the fuck I wanted. I brought people into the studio, tattooed them with my signature and Kiss FM logos. I did a lot of stuff that was cool for ratings, but not as safe for the integrity of the radio station.
Okay.
In 2012, being number 1 rated, the top show in the market, there's an operation manager that came in that I'm still friends with. The owner's wife, she runs the marketing side of things of the building, because the man owns the radio stations. The wife owns the marketing side. They sell. Boom.
Sure.
Moneymaker. She actually is the one that put her foot down. Like, there's no I in team. I don't give a fuck who you are, what you do. If you can't be a part of this team and work with us, then you got to go. And long story short, again, 2012, I got fired from Kiss FM while on top, while being number 1 rated.
Wow.
Yeah, completely fired. 2012 from Kiss FM. So that's the second time I'm leaving Kiss FM, and I'm like, fuck, this sucks. But they give me a severance package, like a really big severance package to not compete against them. And I don't know if I would have, but that was a time for me to really start focusing on what mattered. I had a daughter at the time, and the New York firing really hit home. But this really hit home because I was the most talented radio person that I had seen in a long time in my own head, and I was winning. And not just winning, but I took it from nothing and made it win and still got fired.
Right.
What's the problem there?
Doesn't give you a lot of faith in the industry.
But at the same time, it helped me to grow because there's a reason why I got fired, and it had nothing to do with talent. And from there, that was the true eye-opener. that made me realize talent isn't everything, you know?
Right.
And I really had to start focusing on me as a person.
How does the phrase go? You have to get along to get along. Is that it?
Is that it?
I don't. But
the point is, and even till this day, there are people that probably still look at me like Govia is a cocky, conceited asshole, and I'll take that. But I'm different now, and that's 2012. And since that, I'll cut through the bullshit. I've gone through Knoxville, Tennessee, Biloxi, Mississippi, been number one in both markets, and another straight to number one type thing. And while in Biloxi, I got a chance to come back to Kiss FM again. Now this is my chance to finally be a man, live in the town. Except this time they didn't want me to program it; they just want me to do a show. And that was cool with me, you know, in my own head.
Sure.
But again, you're talking to a man. I just told you my lifelong radio story. I once ran Kiss FM,
right?
You know, and I took it to number one. And the 3 markets after that, Chicago, Biloxi, and Knoxville, took them all to number one. So with that, I also wanted to work with someone that had the same knowledge as me, and Scooter, who works for Kiss FM now, actually is that person, in my opinion. But again, I was able to be the number one show in the market. I shot straight there again, and now instead of like getting fired because of how much of a piece of shit I am, it's more of like I'm not happy. You know, why? Why am I not happy? Does it have to do with radio? Does it have to do with... I think it more just has to do with being myself. And I found myself being perceived as something different than what I was because of radio. So now doing this talk radio stuff is actually cool to me because this is actually new to me. You know, I'm a between the sheets, between the music type of broadcaster.
Sure.
I play the music. And when I do talk, it's about something interesting. This is all about me, and I apologize. This is self-centered, but this is my first time talking about all this. And I've always wanted to, honestly, to be able to tell the story of my radio life. And I gave you some cliff notes from 2012 to now, but you pretty much, it tells it all because my talent is not a question at all. You know, I've won in every single market I've been in since 2009 and 2006 to 2007, I didn't really win because we were new. It takes time to develop, you know.
Sure,
it takes
sure.
time to, and what it comes down to, I'm a better person now, and I think that I've learned as long as you stay positive, as long as you smile, as long as you're happy with your own life, it doesn't go unnoticed. And currently, I'm not saying I'm done with radio forever. But I've retired from Peoria Radio, and I want to make good in the community. And this was all a whole long story, but I think it definitely segues perfectly to what we started with. Not necessarily running for mayor, but I've always, throughout my career, naturally have been self-centered because I had a job to be the best personality possible.
Sure.
And my life is revolved around making that personality and being...
Do you kind of feel like a WWE superstar?
Per se, but not as intense, because I actually watched the SmackDown the other night, and these fucking people are...
Yeah. Yeah, they're insane.
It's actually, I don't know. I want to start watching it again. I'm a WCW fan. My favorite belt's the WCW World Championship belt. I want to get one of those.
Sure.
One around here?
Yeah, I'm sure we have one up in the kids' room.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they do. They have like every belt.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not because I'm not that fake. But I smile all the time, and and earlier in my shows, I would be dicks to people, hang up on people, because that's stuff that gets a rise out of people. I do whatever the hell it takes to make you listen to that radio station.
Sure. I mean, yeah, Howard Stern like paved the way for that.
Yeah.
I mean, like the movie Private Parts, like it was perfect. It was like we, interviewed people why they listen to the show.
Yeah.
And if they like him or they hate him, and more people hated him that listened to the show than
Exactly.
actually liked them.
Exactly.
So people were tuning in just to hate the guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, haters pay the bills.
And you see him do that, and he's a big Hamptonite. He loves the Hamptons. He's actually stopped into the radio station.